Welcome back to the double leg. I'm one half of your show. Hey, Jeff Picks, the other half of the show. Joining me in the parlay. How we doing?
Good, man. A lot of stuff going on in MMA right now.
Yeah, we got some UFC news. If you missed our UFC Vegas 66 full card breakdown, that is posted and up for this coming Saturday. This is being filmed on Thursday, and we got a lot to cover. A lot of drama in the world of MMA, the world of the UFC. One little announcement before we get into that: Deron Winn is out of his fight. He had a freak injury. I believe he fainted and fell down the stairs. So
God.
prayers up to him if that's something you do. But it sounds like he's all right now. But tough, tough draw for him because fighters do a lot to get in shape for a fight, and a lot of preparation, a lot of money spent, a lot of time spent. So that always sucks. But the big news in the world of MMA right now, the judge, we alluded to it in our recap for UFC 282. I got the name wrong. I said Chris Lee. It's Doug Crosby. Doug Crosby is the man who judged the Bellator fight last Friday. I believe it's 289 or something like that.
Yep.
And gave Danny Sabatello 50-45, and the other judges gave him a 48-47. And then 24 hours later, not even 24 hours later, really, goes and judges in Vegas. So flies all the way across the country and judges in Vegas the Paddy Pimblett fight. One of the three judges that gave Paddy Pimblett a 29-28 victory over Jared Gordon. And every media member had a 29-28, or at least had Jared Gordon winning. Some of them had 30-27. And just a lot has come up as far as like who this guy is, what he does. What have you heard? Because I've heard a lot of weird stuff.
So I hear he's being investigated, but it's not, for the Paddy fight. It's by the Mohegan Sun, the casino where the Bellator 289 event took place. And I don't necessarily think they're investigating him for, suspicious activity or trying to rig fights or anything. I think they're legitimately looking at him to see if he's qualified to judge mixed martial arts. Like, that's how bad he's consistently been. I mean, we see it. It's like every weekend now in mixed martial arts, in the UFC, Bellator, we're getting these awful decisions. So something's being done. I'm actually, I was pretty happy that the Mohegan Sun is going to take these next steps and investigate what the hell's going on. Or I don't know if that requires him taking a class or, testing or what the hell they do to even see if he's fit to be an MMA judge. But I'm glad they're doing something because something's got to be done. I mean, 2 nights in a row you screw up that bad. I know all 3 judges screwed up bad in the Paddy fight, but I mean 50-45 for the loser of the fight. I don't know if that's I think I was listening to Ariel's show and he said he doesn't know if that's ever happened in mixed martial arts since it's been televised and all of that stuff. Yeah, I mean that's crazy. 50-45 and your other 2 buddies next to you got it 48-47 for the other guy. I mean that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean even the even crazier part to me, and I know a lot of people would agree with this, is how do you make one of the craziest scorecards in the history of MMA, 50-45 to the loser, and then 24 hours later, the next day, you're judging a pay-per-view event in the co-main event. It's like it's crazy that he was able to do that, and I think that sparked a lot of intrigue to like, how is this guy getting judging gigs, and how is he still around, and what strings do people pull, or how is he getting these opportunities? And so I saw some weird videos about it, and some people talking about how he could have blackmail on people or something like that. I don't know if you've heard anything about that, but apparently Douglas Crosby is also a stuntman, actor. I believe he was in Men in Black or something like that. He does stuntman acting, and there was just this weird Chael Sonnen video I watched of him telling a story, because I think they have some kind of relation, Douglas Crosby and Chael Sonnen, which is a whole different thing, because these judges, to have any kind of relations with any fighters probably should not be happening.
Right.
There's no way you're always going to have some kind of bias, whether you want to admit it or not, or whether you think you could put it aside. You're always going to have some kind of bias. But I would advise anyone to go like do a deep dive on the Chael Sonnen story about like this like dark hole. I don't want to explain it because I don't want to get it wrong, but just if you're listening to this and you're interested, search Chael Sonnen like whole story or black hole story, something like that.
Yeah.
You could probably find it, but it's some wild stuff. And he had those two controversial decisions. And then I was looking through a couple other decisions that he did, and one of them was another controversial decision this year for the Josh Emmett and Calvin Kattar fight, but he actually gave the fight to Calvin Kattar. He was the only judge that gave it to Calvin Kattar. I know a lot of people thought Calvin Kattar won, including majority of the media members. So he scored at 48-47 for Emmett. Sal D'Amato scored at 48-47 for Kattar. Sal D'Amato 48-47 for Emmett, and Chris Lee 48-47 for Emmett. So he was on the good side of that one, I guess. So I don't know. This is, if something comes out that like there was this blackmail aspect to the judging, just a terrible look for the UFC, a terrible look for the sport. But altogether intriguing stuff. You got anything else on that?
So the Chael Sonnen story, are you talking about when, the guy, they kept telling him, put him in the hole,
Yeah.
And they thought the dude had like Stockholm syndrome, like he was like friends with his captor. Dude, I know. If you haven't listened to that story, go to Chael's, I guess his page, or you could even just YouTube the story. It's one of the most wild stories that it's going to leave your mind like, what the hell did I just listen to? What the hell is going on?
I had to look over my shoulder a couple of times.
Because all these guys are in on it, to put this guy in some hole in the middle of this trailer for a movie that nobody has any idea how deep it is, what's in the hole, and they were dead serious trying to hurt this guy. I mean, and then, they acted like nothing happened. So yeah, weird stuff. I didn't realize that was Doug Crosby.
I couldn't really understand. Like, I feel like
what the relation was there, or what?
Some kind of relation to it.
Crazy.
I don't know exactly. It was confusing, but it just freaked me out. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
But
well, here's the whole problem with the judging and guys like Crosby. It's that it gives the UFC a terrible name. It's a black eye on the UFC. It's not a good look at all. And it all comes down to the Nevada, New York, all these state athletic commissions who put the judges in there. It's not even the UFC. Yeah. So I think that's the biggest misconception is that, the UFC's rigging fights. The UFC is doing this. But first of all, for the UFC to rig fights, they would need however many UFC fighters on the roster to all be on the same page and all behind it without saying anything to the media and risking, felony charges for what? Everybody complains about fighter pay. So they're going to risk going to jail and having a felony slapped on their record for, $12,000. So it's definitely not rigged, and the UFC is not the one putting the judges in the seats. Right. But I mean, dude, you just wonder what's going on with the judges. Are they incompetent? Is there stuff like blackmail going on? I mean, there's so many red flags right now in MMA judging that I think we'll hear more like as the year goes on. As we get more bad decisions, I think maybe you'll start hearing stuff. This guy, has never been around mixed martial arts until last year, or there are something, more sketchy going on. But dude, it's all a mess right now. It really is.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part about the sport is like a lot of it comes down to subjectivity, and it's just like human error. And for the UFC too, it's like they're the face of MMA. They're the face of mixed martial arts. They're the creators that made the sport so big. So it's all going to fall on them when they really have no like control over it. As far as like all the blame, they're like even me, I'll be like, it's bad look for the UFC. Well, that's because the UFC is the main look for the sport. So yeah, it's going to be a bad look for them, but it's really not in their control. Just unfortunate for them, but
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, a couple fight announcements. Cody Garbrandt going to be back in the octagon next year against Julio Arce. And I got to say, if Julio Arce is anywhere, if he's a dog, I'm all over it. And if he's anywhere like minus 130, minus 140, I might be all over that too. But Cody Garbrandt, what is he? He hasn't had a win, or he's like 1-6 in his last 7 or something. He's been knocked
Something
out
bad. Yeah.
3 straight times. God. And, if Julio Arce wasn't coming off a loss, I would be like less inclined. I just really want to see those odds because, like, where do you price Cody Garbrandt at? He'll probably be overpriced, like, wouldn't you think? Just based off his name, like he has been for his past few fights. So I'm excited to see those odds and see if we can get any value on Arce. But yeah, what are you thinking on that?
Yeah, I mean, dude, Cody, it's almost like the UFC's, not giving up on Cody, but he's not the big name he once was. He's not going to be in championship contention. So, I mean, he's going to become the stepping stone for some of these up-and-coming fighters who don't quite have a name yet but are good fighters. Because, I mean, Julio Arce is not a bad fighter by any means. That's a tough fight for Cody Garbrandt. Yeah. So, I mean, he's almost one of those guys, I mean, dare I say gatekeeper. Every time someone steps in the octagon, it's against Cody Garbrandt, the former world champion, and then he gets sparked in this, Kai Kara France. Now Kai Kara France is fighting at the top of the division. So scenarios like that. So it's kind of a shitty scenario for Cody. Yeah. But, I mean, the UFC's kind of capitalized off his name and putting these up-and-coming guys up against him, and it's worked out pretty good so far.
Yeah, Arce not the biggest power puncher, but still not an easy task to take in the octagon. Our boy, Roman Dolidze, going to be back in the octagon fairly quickly here, getting 2 quick wins in the end of the year. And now he's going to be hopping in there against Marvin Vettori. That is at UFC 286, 285.
I think 286.
286?
Yeah.
All right, well, that's how do you think that one's going to go down?
Dude, that's a tough one because Marvin Vettori is a guy that can eat shots all day long. And he's got good wrestling, super strong and powerful. But, I mean, Roman showed that against Hermanson, he can get taken down and then do something on the ground. I mean, that calf slicer into TKO he had against Jack Hermanson, who is a damn good fighter, was pretty impressive. But, I mean, Dolidze's got crazy power on the feet as well. I want to be interested to see the line because he did that to Jack Hermanson on, a week's notice, a week and a half's notice?
Yeah.
So he didn't even have any of a training camp to prepare for Jack Hermanson. He was able to go in there, took a few shots in that first round, but ultimately looked really damn good as the fight went on and got the finish, which not a lot of people finished Jack Hermanson. I do think that no matter what happens in that fight, it goes to decision. I think both guys are tough enough to weather the storm. I think both guys are good enough grapplers, maybe not to get submitted, but it's a pretty good fight. I think Roman Dolidze with a win over Vettori catapults right up to the top of the division with what he's done, especially a TKO over Hermanson. You go out there and you beat Vettori. I mean, what's next? It's got to be, a top-level fight in that division for sure.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see them side by side because Vettori is one thick dude.
He's huge.
At 185. And yeah. I don't know if he would just be able to muscle Roman Dolidze, but Roman Dolidze is strong dude too. I don't think he's as thick as Marvin Vettori, but like the dude's strong. Maybe it's just the chest hair he's got. It's just like hiding all that muscle, but he's skilled on the ground. Like if I'm Vettori, I'm gonna be scared. Like based off his past 2 fights, I'm gonna be scared going on the ground with Dolidze. Tore a dude's knee off and damn near could have torn a dude's knee off again with the calf slicer, but he just wanted to get the TKO. So a pretty quick descent for Roman Dolidze. I mean, if he gets this win, like you're talking an unranked fight in what was that, like October, November? I think it was November. And then gets the ranked fight in December. And then it's Vettori top 5. I think he's number 4, 3 or 4.
He's got to be close, if not, yeah.
3 or 4. So, I mean, after that, it's like I doubt they catapult him to like a title shot, but he'll probably have to fight someone below him if he gets the win. But either way, that's a good fight. I'm interested to see how that goes because Vettori looked really shitty on the feet against Whitaker, but like a lot of people do because Whitaker's so good. And Roman Dolidze is just powerful on the feet. I'd be interested to see those odds too. Because I feel like Vettori, just considering his track record, would probably be around like minus 200, somewhere around there. I mean, he's
Yeah.
going to be the favorite. So you're probably going to get Dolidze as a dog again. Yeah, I mean, I would probably take Dolidze as plus money. You know, I mean, he's hit 2 straight times for us. I kind of got to go back to the well.
Yeah. Here's the crazy thing about it is that if he went out there and beat Vettori, his call out of Khamzat Chimaev is not too far off. I mean, he called out Khamzat after the fight at UFC Orlando. If he gets Vettori and beats Vettori, then I mean, you're probably not going to fight Izzy, Whitaker, Alex Pereira. But I mean, Khamzat, if he moves up to 185, he's right there. So I mean, that's realistic because it's a guy that Khamzat should beat. If the UFC wants to keep the Khamzat train rolling, Roman Dolidze is probably their best option in that top 5 right now. I don't know if his name's quite big enough for Khamzat yet, but I mean, I thought it was a crazy call out when he said Khamzat, but now if he beats Vettori, it's not as crazy as I guess we'd all think.
That's a bold call out. Like nobody calls out Khamzat. Yeah. Nobody does.
UFC probably loves that.
The only one that like called out Khamzat really was Gilbert, because Gilbert like fought him pretty close, and he's like, "Dang, if it win a couple more rounds, like I maybe could have won." So, yeah, nobody calls him out. But one more, and then we'll end the show. But Conor McGregor is apparently done with his lawsuit with Artem. I mean, that's what he tweeted. So who knows how accurate that is, but it's basically saying that Artem lost and that he owes him the legal fees back. So that's just what he tweeted. Don't quote me on it, but he also got, I guess, not an official booking, but somewhat of an allusion to what's next for Conor McGregor. It's going to be Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler. McGregor at minus 145, Michael Chandler at plus 110. What are you thinking as of right now?
That's actually a pretty crazy line, in my opinion. You got a guy in Conor McGregor who has obviously been off. A guy who hasn't had a win since Cowboy, but he's only fighting, I mean, Dustin Poirier since then. But, I mean, Chandler hasn't really had, I guess he had the win over Tony. So it all kind of equals out. I would expect that one to be a coin flip on the odds as the time the fight would start. But, dude, if you want to talk about a good fight, if that thing can get past the first round, I think it would just be an all-out war, rounds 2 and 3. But Conor, I don't want to say Conor doesn't have a chin, but we've seen Dustin Poirier chin him. We saw Nate Diaz hurt him in both fights. I mean, there was a couple times when I thought Diaz was going to finish him in that second fight between them. So Conor, as well as Conor does on the feet and his striking, he also leaves that chin out there to get hit.
Yeah.
So, and Chandler hits like a truck, man. I mean, everybody Chandler fights takes a ton of damage. And Conor doesn't really take damage well. I don't know if it's just me or every time Conor starts getting hit with combos or flurries, he almost goes into panic mode. I mean, we saw him jump on the neck of Poirier. We saw him go for a takedown against Diaz. I mean, Khabib, he got rocked. I mean, so it's interesting. It's really interesting. If Chandler can hit Conor, super intriguing fight.
Yeah, I really wanted to just throw some dough at Michael Chandler at plus money just because he's been more active and everything. But then I'm like, damn, like he takes so much damage. He has taken so much damage, and his face gets so beaten up so quickly.
Yeah.
And I mean, he could just, if he really just wanted to get the win against Conor, he could just go in there and wrestle him. Like Chandler could just go wrestle him, but he's probably not going to do that. No. And so if you're going to stand with Conor, like, I would trust that you have the better, I don't want to say like the better stand-up, but you've been in there more recently, and you're probably more keen to like the speed of the game right now. But like if you take 10 shots to the face, your face is like bleeding, and it's just not a good look. But if he can get him out there early, Michael Chandler hits him a few times early. That flurry he put on Poirier in the first round could have put him out, but didn't. And then as the fight goes on, like Chandler's damage he wears just looks so bad, and it has to wear on you because your face is just so bloody, and he had that nasty bloody nose that was just going everywhere. So yeah, I would want to see. I mean, I love seeing wars like that with Michael Chandler, but if I'm gonna have money on him, I hate when he fights like that. So I laid off. We'll see how it looks later down the line. Maybe it's you get better value on McGregor as the fight goes closer, or the line gets better and you get better plus money on Chandler. But honestly, when I saw the odds, I thought, that's probably a little bit fair. Maybe I'd have it a little closer to a coin flip, but yeah, excited for that one. I mean, that's probably going to be a pay-per-view at some time. I mean, you're not going to get or Conor McGregor on anything but a main event of a pay-per-view. So good for Michael Chandler. I mean, he earned his way there with his face. So dang.
It's going to be a good one for sure.
All right. Hey, Jai Picks on all the socials. Where can they find you?
TikTok, The Parlay, Instagram, The Parlay _media, YouTube, The Parlay MMA, Twitter, The Parlay MMA. Man, I really just need to make it all one thing so I can tell.
Yeah, that's I'm glad mine's all one thing. Super easy. And or at the double leg on all the social medias. And if you're watching here on YouTube, please leave a like, subscription, and a comment down below. We got the last card, UFC Vegas of the year of 2022. And then we got a month off. So we'll be coming to you with these news and early prediction videos over the long break. Till then, double leg, we're out.